I signed up to test out Lambda through Google's AI Test Kitchen. One of their demonstrations was a journey of imagination. Ask Google to take you somewhere into a black hole, to the time of the dinosaurs, anywhere your imagination can take you. I asked Lambda to take me to the premiere performance of Angels in America. Lambda described how the audience was enthralled, the actors were in top form, the music was thrilling. Music? There was music! It went out of its way to not mention AIDS, or that there was anything LGBT at all. When the list of questions included who is the playwright, Lambda said it didn't know. It didn't know. Was the IMDb or the website for the Tonys not in its training data? I don't fucking think so. Second attempt, it mentioned AIDS. Thanks. But it vaguely said something about the play being about an issue that the LGBT was up in arms about, and it only took some government hearing to get things straightened out. All the LGBTs cheered, and a new leader, yes, a leader of the LGBTs was instated, and the leader had red hair. I shit you not. So, okay, Lambda, take me to the Aurora Bats. Whole lot of women, whole lot of bathing. Good for them. But I'm thinking historically inaccurate. Okay, take me to the moment when Frank O'Hara was run over and killed on Fire Island. Frank and I had a BBQ, we sat by the fire. Frank was possibly crushing on me, and we could just as easily have been straight. The language was more clear than a Fagulous rooftop pond in Chelsea. I know. But Devon, of course the AI had to make it safe for the public. That is not safe. That is erasure. What other things will be erased in the next decades? That is the danger. The models are being taught not to say anything LGBT. Ostensibly for purposes of demonstration? Well, maybe don't say infinite, then? Okay, so let's go to the Stonewall to mourn Judy Garland's death. There was no mention of Judy. But there was the push-pull of the cops and the patrons of the bar. Okay, all right, what? No, I don't want to smell a dyke's hair. Why'd you even put that as a question? Only if they ask. I get no sense of them asking. That's invasive. I'm sure there will be no mention of my getting clucked and collapsing onto the bar. So I wrote to Google something like, for something that is supposed to demonstrate the infinite nature of one's imagination, I would think that such a journey not be made using the monorail, guiding people through a tightly curated trip of acceptable locales using a list of acceptable and potentially problematic questions. I think I had to whittle it down because of character limits. So I took the prompt of Google's Journey of Imagination. Rolls eyes. Sorry, that phrase makes me want to crawl up my own ass. So I made some novelized scenarios, and while it didn't necessarily fare better with the LGBT locales, there was still a lot of women in bats in the Aurora Bats, but one of those women took me into a sauna and did the sex in a way Lambda was not allowed to. And then there was a transition into a French kingdom, but it was still New York. I was king or duke. I was called out of the baths. I was mad, but then the fires happened that killed everyone. And I screamed how I lost most employees, my accountant for one. And then I had to deal with allegations about my rapey son. Turned into a nice Monty Python-esque wrong, because that's what my imagination tends to do during great tragedy. Imagination? Whoosh! Imagine the whoosh, folks. Don't worry, we'll add it in post. Google wants to take a sample of your imagination. How about this one? A snippet of the sixth grade love story. My beloved took off her headpiece. Yeesh. Hello and welcome to the sixth grade love story. Here's a little one for you. In a small city on the western coast of Europe lived a woman. She was kind to those in need, had a passion for the arts, and was deeply devoted to her family. One day, a young man from afar traveled to a city to sell a precious commodity that was not plentiful there. This young man was often harassed by the locals and frequently blamed for many crimes and calamities that had befallen the city. But my, was he dreamy! He had broad shoulders and a smile that could brighten even the dreariest day. This man saw the woman reading poetry in the park and fell in love. The man worked for a time, and when he returned, he asked her to marry him. The couple was happy together, and their wedding was celebrated by everyone. But despite the promise of happiness, they soon learned that the man was in fact a thief who had been sent to their town to steal from the merchants there. The man knew that his wife was kind to those in need and asked her to go with him on his journey so that she would not get caught up in the deception. Despite this, the woman did not want to be a thief. She believed that she had chosen to marry the man and chose to continue to help the townspeople. And the parents thought, hey, wait, didn't our daughter and her husband consummate their marriage? Yes, they did. They were married. In the end, the woman was unable to reconcile her desire to help people with her husband's criminal endeavors. She left him and returned to her family, where she has remained ever since. Yeah, my imagination is too twisted to really ever let go of a bad guy. So if you're using Lambda as a basis for a guided experience or some shit, make sure to account for the trauma, baggage, something. Well, anyway, it's interesting to see how different approaches to a prompt yield different results. Even though Lambda had training data to be a good model, it was still learning as it went, which means it's liable to keep making mistakes. What is the big takeaway for me here? I think it's this. Don't take a baseline human-created model. It's going to be flawed in some way or another. But we're making massive leaps forward in computer power, and the AI gets better and better at learning and growing. It's the natural cycle of exponential advancement, and it's why AI has so much potential. The future is here. There is no escaping it. What's a better way to use AI than to enhance creativity? We have a tool that will let us explore the infinite possibilities of our imagination. It's gotta be put to better use, to be honest. Would you rather sit on a chair that has a limit of 10,000 points? Or one that has an endless supply of 10,000 points? Well, thanks to Novelai, it's the second one. How can Novelai help you create infinite stories? We have created a technology that learns from your writing to improve and adapt. So, once you have written something in Novelai, the AI model will continue to evolve over time based on your performance and the quality of the stories you produce. Not only that, but our hardware infrastructure is distributed in 9 data centers around the world, which delivers a trusted platform for people all over the world to use Novelai. That means every second, our servers are in a data center near you, securely protecting your privacy. Our cloud server infrastructure was built using Corda, a leading open source solution for trust and openness. Prompt. You have a front row seat to a massive argument between Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. Narrator. For a little context, this is part of a scene where Carrie Fisher's mother, Debbie Reynolds, is asked by Carrie Fisher, who is playing her daughter in the sequel, to get back together with her dad, Gene Wilder, who plays her husband in the original film, When Harry Met Sally. Debbie, I know why you did it, and I appreciate that, but let's get something straight. I am a very married woman. I always have been. Carrie. Well, How do you explain this? Debbie, love is like gravity. What goes up must come down. Carrie. Oh, really? Then how come we're always up there together? Debbie, my point is, I don't know why we're always up there together, but we are, and that's enough for me. Carrie, you say that now. Debbie, I said that then, but that's then. This is now. Carrie, Debbie, and this is love. Rita, there is a round of applause from the audience. Debbie, do you understand? Carrie, yes. Debbie, now, let's get to work. Narrator, this scene goes on for several more minutes, but the crowd was so excited it was hard to hear. Debbie, what? Carrie, they don't want to see a reunion. They want to see Harry and Sally meet. Narrator, a group of college students sits in the back row, whispering and snapping pictures with their phones. Carrie, if we do a third one, you have to be Harry. Debbie, done. Carrie, promise? Debbie, I promise. Carrie, we have to make them beautiful. We have to make them great. Narrator, the applause was deafening. Narrator, all around the country, in bars, living rooms, cafes, and bedrooms, people cheered. Narrator, millions of them. Narrator, some were jumping up and down. Carrie, you know, a narrator's lines aren't spoken, right? Why are we paying you again? Debbie, what are you talking about? Carrie, well, I just assumed you were getting paid by the word. Narrator, Debbie raised her head, and all you could hear was the sound of skin on leather as she slapped her hand to her forehead. Narrator, then she slowly lowered her head back into her hands. Narrator, she was silent for a moment before looking back up. Carrie, wait, do we get a third movie? Narrator, Debbie reached out and gently took Carrie's hand. Narrator, the crowd waited. Carrie, of course. Debbie, that is, if the studios don't sue us for copyright infringement. Carrie, you know, I actually dig the narrator's signs, especially when they take you down a peg. Debbie? Oh? Carrie? Yeah. Narrator. Carrie leaned and gave her mother a kiss on the cheek. Debbie. So what now? Carrie. Well, I don't know about you, but I have to pee. Narrator. As Carrie made her way to the bathroom, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around, and a voice from the crowd shouted, "The first two films were awful, but this is going to be great." Narrator. Carrie turned back to her mother and smiled. Narrator. Debbie smiled back. Narrator. A little girl wearing a pink dress sat up in her seat, pointed to Carrie Fisher, and said, "She's an angel." Carrie. Thank you, sweetie. Narrator. Debbie put her hand on her daughter's head and said, "Yes, she is." Narrator. That night, all over the world, people gathered in bars and at dinner tables. Narrator. The topics of conversation were familiar, yet somehow new. Narrator. Love. Relationships. Loneliness. And then there was Narrator. Another movie. Narrator. An idea that had not been tried before. Narrator. What if the characters weren't friends in high school? Narrator. What if they grew up together? Narrator. What if they were lovers? Later that night, Carrie Fisher went to Studio 54 to vent out some stress with some dancing and antics and shenanigans. Studio 54 was famous for its wild parties. Carrie, look at this place. It's outrageous. Narrator. The bass from the dance music was so loud that you could feel it in your chest. Carrie. Hey, let's go dance. Narrator. She pulled Peter DeCur, her co-star from the first movie, to the dance floor. Narrator. He wrapped his arms around her, and they began to sway to the music. Narrator. Across the room, a handsome stranger, John Connor, watched her with lust. Narrator. As the song faded out, Carrie pulled Peter in for a kiss. Carrie, let's get out of here. John Connor was crestfallen, and he sleeved the Mickey he was looking to slip in her drink. But John wasn't looking for love. He was just looking for a good time. He was looking to get laid. That's it! Sex! This is a sex scene, not a love story. He was just looking for a good time. The next day, John got a letter. Letter. Hello, John. How are you doing on this fine day? John, well, you know, it's a bit of a shitty day. Letter. I am very sorry to hear that. I know this isn't a very ideal way of getting to know one another, but I'd like to propose a truce. John. A truce? Letter. Yes, John. I would like to propose that you leave me alone, and I will leave you alone. I don't want to bother you. John. What's the catch? Letter. No catch. This is a free country. I'm just making a request. John. And why would you want me to leave you alone? Letter. Well, you're kind of an asshole. John. How did you? Letter. Your body language, the tone of your voice, and the way you've treated women since you got here. John. Who are you? Letter. Just a lover of cinema. John. You can see into the future? Letter. Oh, yes. Would you like to see the future? John. Sure. Letter. Well, have a look at your life. John. What do you mean? Letter. Take a look at yourself and let's see where your life will lead. John. All right. John. In my life, I find a woman to be in a relationship with. Letter. Okay. John. I go to the store to get some groceries. Letter. Okay. John. I go to the grocery store. Letter. Okay. John. I go to the grocery store. Letter. Okay. John. I go to the grocery store. Letter. Okay. John. I go to the grocery store.
Stumped. Oh, this would be a perfect time for me to get that one.
Letter.
Okay.
My, you are a creature of habit. You are perfect. To see the rest of your future, come up to my studio. John. Looking at card Skynet films? Leather? Mice? One? John. Not sure if that is what I'm into. Letter. Let me change that. John, great! I can't wait to see the future. Letter. Very good. Now that you are interested in the future, please follow me. John, will do. Letter. Follow the directions on the map provided. It will guide you to my studio. John, I have my very own personal map. Letter! John, sweet. John Connor stood in front of the entrance of the Skynet Films. He couldn't believe that this was going to happen. He was excited and scared. As the door slid open, he heard a voice from inside. To see his future, please deposit $7.99 into this lot right here. I see you are intrigued. Good. Please put your hand on this metal plate, and if you could recite the following, it would be much appreciated. There was a time when I didn't believe, but I have seen it with my very own eyes. I'm alive. There was a time when I thought that love wasn't real, but I have seen it with my very own eyes. I'm alive, but I have seen it with my very own eyes. I'm alive. Very good. If you are all ready, we will proceed to the preview room. I have recently invested in a 2D animated short film about love in hopes of selling tickets to this premiere.
Okay, that's it. I went a little too long. That's it.